Well, in his transmittal letter explaining why he signed House Bill 71 into law in April of 2023, Governor Brad Little wrote, quote, "We should take great caution whenever we consider allowing the government to interfere with loving parents and their decisions about what is best for their children," end quote, which kind of became the basis of the lawsuit that followed. The Vulnerable Child Protective Act makes it illegal for Idaho doctors to provide puberty blockers or hormone therapies to teenagers who identify as transgender. It also outlaws gender-affirming surgeries for minors, but that's something that isn't even happening in Idaho anyway. The law was supposed to go into effect at the beginning of this year, but a lawsuit filed by two Idaho families who don't agree with the government making medical decisions for their children, well, that lawsuit would put it on pause temporarily because the U.S. Supreme Court, well, they allowed it to be enforced back in April, except for those two involved in the lawsuit. Their opinion, the U.S. Supreme Court's opinion, didn't address the constitutionality of the law, just the injunction. And that question would need to be answered first by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in Seattle, who today heard arguments in Poe versus Labrador. And Aspen Shumpert listened in on those arguments this morning. And so I guess the question is, what point was each side trying to make?
Yeah, Brian, it started with arguments from John Bursch, who's defending the state of Idaho. He says gender-affirming treatments are experimental and carry heavy risk. One of the judges pushed back, saying these treatments can be beneficial, specifically for people with gender dysphoria. The judge says the treatments can make them feel more comfortable and improve their mental health. Bursch defended the harm, and he says he can defend the harm, saying that that can come with these treatments, and also saying that the bad outweighs the good.
Breast removal for a girl who has cancer versus one who wants to appear to look like a boy, very different reasons for that medical treatment.
The defense then gave its statement. Chase Stargio, who is defending the Idaho families that sued, says the law forces kids and teens to live in a life untrue to how they identify, and that causes significant harm to them and their mental health.
There is a young woman at the core of this case, and she, like many other individuals, experienced tremendous life-saving benefit from this treatment, and the district court made factual findings to that point about the benefits of this care.
The U.S. Department of Justice also spoke, objecting the bans on behalf of the Biden and Harris administration. I reached out to AG Raul Labrador about today's arguments. His office shared this statement with us, saying, quote, "The devastating consequences of drugs and procedures used on children with gender dysphoria are a preventable tragedy." Attorney General Labrador also said the state has a duty to protect and support all children, and that's why he's proud to defend Idaho's law that ensures children are not subjected to these life-altering drugs and procedures. Now, we're waiting on a decision from the Ninth Circuit Court, but one of the three judges said today when we were listening to arguments that it's likely this case is going to go back to the district court. Brian.
There's also that lawsuit when it comes to Medicaid paying for such policies or such, medical provisions. And so that one's still out there.
Yeah, that's right. And they were discussing a few of those and whether or not they wait to make a decision before some of those kind of have results. And so that's something we might see them wait on. But again, they also said it's likely this will go back to the district court.
Interesting. All right. Well, so we'll see what happens with that. Could take a little bit of time. Thank you very much, Aspen.